This is Luke chapter 14. I'm going to start at verse 25. It reads, "And there went great multitudes with him, and he turned and said unto them, If any man come to me, and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. And whoever so doeth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple." This is what we're going to explore, what it really means to be a disciple of Yahawah and yahawashi. What does it really mean for Yahawah to call you a disciple of him? That's the goal in all of this, not what man thinks, not what a camp thinks. What does it take to be a disciple of the Most High? You got to be willing to give up all things, but we're going to go into it, knowing that yahawashi, the only begotten Son, was the perfect example for us to follow in these end times. This is Matthew chapter 20, verse 28. It reads, "Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many." Now in verse 28, I want to highlight the end point where it reads, "and to give his life a ransom for many." See, because a lot of people don't know what a ransom is. What is the definition of a ransom? It is a sum of money that must be paid to release prisoners. So not only was yahawashi beaten and hung on a tree, but his life was orchestrated to serve his people and to free us from these spiritual chains of bondage so we can have an opportunity at salvation. And on a side note, this is Acts the 5th chapter, verse 30. This is for anyone that's new and they never read that yahawashi was hung on a tree. It reads, "The God of our fathers raised up yahawashi, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree." So now seeing that yahawashi's life was a ransom for his people, that he sacrificed his entire existence so he could help our people come to salvation, and died for his friends, which is one of the most, well, according to yahawashi, is the greatest thing a man can do for his friends. So let's see, as disciples of Yahawah, hopefully part of the election, what we should be doing with our lives. This is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 1. It reads, "For as much then as Christ have suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind, for he that have suffered in the flesh have ceased from sin, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of God." So 1 Peter states that we are to arm ourselves with the same mind that we are to suffer for yahawashi as he did for us. I mean, everybody's seen Passion of the Christ, and I advise you to read it on your own in the scriptures, what really happened. It's mostly accurate, but it's just better to read it for yourself. But we know the suffering that yahawashi went through. So Peter is telling us that's how we are to be in this life. We should be prepared to go through things for being righteous. This is 1 Peter chapter 3, start at verse 13. It reads, "And who is he that will harm you, if ye be followers of that which is good? And if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled. But sanctify the Lord thy God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of hope that is in you with meekness and fear, having a good conscience, and whereas they speak evil of you as evildoers, they may be ashamed that falsely accuse your good conversation in Christ. For it is better, if the will of God be so, that ye suffer for well-doing than for evil-doing." So the Most High will protect you. That's not what he's saying here. But he will allow you to go through things so he can test you and refine you to make you a proper disciple and servant of him. That's why Peter states in verse 14, and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled," because it's all just to refine you. It's to make you a better disciple and a better person, to heighten your character. Go down to verse 17 again. It reads, "For it is better, if the will of God be so, that ye suffer for well-doing than for evil-doing." So it's better to suffer after you do something good, because if you do something bad, then it's just more so chastisement. Like, you shouldn't have been doing it, so the Most High may allow something to happen to you. But if all you're doing is good and you're really trying, and the Most High allows something, evil to happen to you, it's just to test your character, to see if you, still going to have that faith, belief in him, go even harder for the truth. Because if you know the scriptures, then you would know that, well, this is a good thing. The Most High is really testing me. The Most High must be really trying to deal with me. That's why you have to prepare yourself mentally. This is Sirach, the 2nd chapter. I'm going to start at verse 1. It reads, My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So the book of Sirach, the 2nd chapter, it tells us that we are to constantly endure and set our minds aright. You feel what I'm saying? You got to prepare mentally. All right. The scriptures also say in the first verse, it says that prepare thy soul for temptation. You're going to be tempted even more now that you are in the truth and that you know some things. You're going to have the hardest and most ruthless temptations that come after you. Because you go down to verse 5, it reads, For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Now you are going to be tried constantly. So then you can come out as an acceptable man, as an acceptable disciple for the Most High. I want to touch on verse 4, where it says, Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. So whatever you get, you should know, because I'm living my life the same as the son as best I can. He is the example. So whatever is brought upon me, you're supposed to take cheerfully. Same thing what Peter wrote about. But then it says, be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. Because Most High, if you're up somewhere in some type of corporation or whatever job you got, the Most High may demote you, take you down, because he says he chose the poor to be rich in faith. You're being taken down in this world carnally so you can be brought up spiritually in the kingdom. Let's get a couple precepts for verse 4. This is Sirach chapter 3, verse 19. It reads, Many are in high place and of renown, but mysteries are revealed unto the meek. For the power of the Lord is great, and he is honored of the lowly. So the Most High is already telling you that the only way you're really going to worship and honor him is if he brings you low, because you're going to be too caught up in this world. That's just something you got to be willing to sacrifice. He even says in verse 19, but mysteries are revealed unto the meek. That's how you're going to get the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to really understand the truth, is if you are meek and humble and low. If you're too high in those renowned places, you'll start going off and start getting in the word less and less, and then you won't be in the word at all. Someone would have rooted you out. This is James chapter 2, verse 5. It reads, Hearken, my beloved brethren, have not God chosen the poor of this world rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom which he hath promised to them that love him? So when James is writing this letter to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, he was using like a rhetorical question. Like, have not God chosen the poor of this world rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom which he hath promised to them that love him? Because what sense would it make for him to choose those that are in higher positions here? It would make no sense. You're not supposed to be of this world. The only way you're not of this world is if you are brought lowly and you are despised by men and they speak evil things of you. You have to be willing to sacrifice everything. And the Most High, if you're in the truth for real, he will take stuff away from you regardless. And you know that you're doing right when he does it, because he's making you more focused on his truth. Because the kingdom is going to come, and that's forever. Stop trying to be in this world that's very temporary. It's about to end anyway. We're so close to the end, or just when the government shutdown happens, when all the money's gone. That's your whole kingdom here. When you got the other brothers and sisters out here really dedicated in the truth and are willing to sacrifice and be brought low and despised of everyone, so we can get that kingdom that's for eternity. This is Proverbs chapter 13. I'm going to read verses 7 and 8. It states, There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet have great riches. The ransom of a man's life are his riches, but the poor heareth not rebuke. So in verse 7, what does it mean where it says, There's that maketh himself rich, yet have nothing? There's that maketh himself poor, yet have great riches. Because if you make yourself rich in this world, that's what it's talking about. You have nothing. If you're coming up any way in this world, it does not mean anything. What job you got, the fame you got, how many followers you have on Instagram, subscribers on YouTube, all that means nothing, because that's just making yourself rich. I don't know if you started a company, your so-called black power and bringing up your people, still calling them black and stuff. That's all vanity. That's all you're making yourself rich, yet you have nothing. Then it reads, there is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches. Meaning you're giving up everything of this world, everything that anybody would accept. You're not just going to empower your people by calling them black and trying to act like, oh yeah, black entrepreneurs. Oh yeah, she's good for starting a business. She's supporting black people. No, it's about Israelites. It's about the Most High's chosen people and bringing out this truth and telling your people they need to keep the commandments. You know, a lot of people don't want to hear that. That's why it states in verse 8, the ransom of a man's life are his riches. Talking about the sacrifice of his life to his people. But the poor heareth not rebuke. They don't want to hear the real stuff. Our people don't want to hear the stuff that's going to make them uncomfortable and they have to give up. But that's why he already got his elect chosen to do this work and willing to sacrifice any and everything for him. This is John chapter 15. I'm going to start at verse 12. It reads, this is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends if ye do whatsoever I command you. So Yahawashi basically summed it up in verse 13, where he says, greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends, physically or spiritually. You feel what I'm saying? Making videos, you know, trying to find out more information so you can edify the elect, not taking man's word for it, going throughout teaching, trying to help people come to the truth, knowing how to persuade people, learning how to get people's attention, doing all types of things for the elect. Studying more and more so you can have those answers to those hard questions they may have, so they don't have to go anywhere else. Or physically laying down your life for them in some form or fashion for the brother and the sisters that you are in the truth with. Maybe in the end you may have to do that. But it's all about laying down your life for a ransom. Giving your life to the elect and to the Most High, serving them and forsaking everything in this world. But we're going to end this breakdown on Luke the 14th chapter, verse 33. It reads, so likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he have, he cannot be my disciple. So as Yahawashi states, the only way you're going to be his disciple is if you are willing to forsake all that you have in this world and go strictly after him. And only he knows that truly. So you can brag or you can say whatever to any other person. Yeah, I'm going hard. You know, I gave up a lot of stuff, but the Most High truly knows if you have really forsaken everything in this world and followed after him. Alright guys, so that's going to be the end of this video. You got any questions, leave them in the comments below. We got a great website in the description box. Check it out. There's tons of information on there. You know, some stuff that you can't even put on YouTube that I had to make a website for to put on there. So definitely check that out. And y'all willing, I'll see you guys next video.